Hey everyone, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm Kristian Kennedy, and this is a show where we bring you the day's biggest movie news, and of course we give you insight into what it all means. Joining me today as our captain of this ship is our AMC editor, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach.
Hey guys, lovely to be back at the Stream Studios, and very excited about the guest I have joined with me today.
We have one half of Schmoes Knows, Mr. Kristian Harloff.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing?
And then we have the second half of Schmoes Knows. We have them together. This never happens. Mark Ellis.
Oh, this is exciting. Kristian, I'll give you $20 for that Ninja Turtle shirt.
Not gonna happen. We heard murmurs of a Point Break remake happening for some time now. The 1991 film starred the late, great Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves and centered on an FBI agent who goes undercover to catch a gang of bank robbers who just may be surfers. Helmed by Erikson Core, who previously directed the Mark Wahlberg football movie Invincible, one of the lead actors has now been selected. Gerard Butler will play Bodhi in the remake, the spiritual and philosophical leader and adrenaline junkie of the gang, played by Swayze in the original version. Sorry guys, tongue twisted today. Amy Rose, what do you think of this casting choice and the remake officially moving forward?
Is nothing sacred.
Right.
When I first heard about this, I was like, don't do it. Yeah. And now it's happening, and I still feel the same way. I mean, Catherine Bigelow, for example, she has helmed the original film, which was a masterpiece in all its cheesy glory, so great. I mean, Swayze and Keanu's stiffness worked perfectly in this movie. I mean, everything about it was great. And then she kind of dabbled with war movies from here on out. And Erikson Core, I mean, that seems like a really good name to helm a film like this about adrenaline junkies. And, you know, I know he was the DP for Fast and Furious, so, which feels like a ripoff of Point Break. Yeah. So that all seems to fit. And honestly, when I first heard Gerard Butler, I was just like, huh. And then I thought about it after my initial, fury kind of sizzled down a little bit. And, he was really good in writing giants. He played a really good surf bum. So obviously he can do that well. And, Patrick Swayze was so incredible as Bodhi. And it's hard to fill those shoes. But I'm less pissed about the initial casting than I was when I first heard it. I was like, of course, Butler, throw him in everything, Yeah. But I still don't want this movie to be remade. I'm really not happy about it. It's obviously going to happen. And who's going to play, Johnny Utah now? That's the bigger question about it. So what's your initial reaction?
I agree with almost everything you said, too, but I think at this point, it's like inevitable that all the great 90s movies are being remade. But here's where I say, look at it this way. Hopefully the director is a fan of, like a really big fan of the original, because look what Craig Brewer did with Footloose. Not that Footloose was such a masterpiece, but it was the best remake that it could have been of the 1984 version. Mm-hmm. I want to see how they commit to it. And if Gary Busey's there saying, they can bring him back and be like, 2 meatballs, you talk. Yes. Then I'm back.
What do you think?
I think this proves my theory that Chasing Mavericks was an audition piece for Gerard Butler to play Bodhi. And you said is nothing sacred. This is sacred, and I'm so happy it's coming back. I cannot wait to see more Point Break. Like, would you rather see this or another Fast and Furious movie or another Jason Statham action film?
Well, that's coming too.
They're all coming, but it's like, look, let's have this too. And why can't Keanu Reeves come back?
He will.
He'll come back.
Yeah.
Gary Busey, spoiler alert, did kind of get capped at the end, so.
Well, no, but it's not. It's a totally
different. He may not be
different.
eating any more meatball sandwiches.
But they're remaking it. They're remaking the same story.
Yeah.
So if there were rumors that Chris Pine at one point was attached to play, the Keanu Reeves role, Johnny Utah. So I don't know. Gerard Butler is a good choice, I think.
So too.
Yeah, and especially. And I like that this more of a serious tone if they play with the dead presidents and everything too. If they go that route, because we know an action role, he's great. He really thrives.
Yeah, I know. They're going to remake every classic. Like, I think that they've just continued to do that, and I keep, trying to support, as a writer, all these indies with heart and everything, but these movies make a lot of money, so they're not going to stop, but I'm still not happy about it.
But there's not a lot of classics you have a great drinking game that accompany them. So if we get another great drinking game with the other Point Break, like, you take a shot, every time Johnny Utah hurts his knee in the first film, you're drunk by the halfway point.
You know, this is the first good argument I've heard about it, so well played.
Tequila always helps everything. They were probably drunk when they decided to greenlight this, so it only makes sense the audience should be.
All right, my dear, what's next?
Well, I just have to correct Mark because there's never too many Jason Statham action films. Just want to put that on the record. And I'm less upset about the remake than I am about the casting of Gerard Butler. I was actually really excited reading it because I saw Mark's name and I was like, oh my God, he'd be an amazing Bodhi. And then they ruined my excitement with Gerard Butler. So not happy. In May, we'll be able to see Dane DeHaan portray Harry Osborn in Mark Webb's The Amazing Spider-Man 2. The actor recently spoke about the role, which appears to embody a different tone than James Franco's version in Sam Raimi's films. DeHaan stated, when you first meet Harry, he's just graduated from high school, and he has to come back to New York to help deal with Oscorp and its legacy. And his father, Norman Osborn, played by Chris Cooper, he also sees Peter Parker for the first time in a long time. They were childhood friends. So it's really about Harry having a friendship with Peter and an allegiance to Peter, but also being the heir apparent to Oscorp and having to deal with that. It's becoming very obvious that of all these villains are originating from within Oscorp in one way or another. There are things that Harry feels he owes Peter and things he needs from Peter. There are things he feels he needs from Spider-Man, and then there's his responsibility to Oscorp. It's a very complicated storyline, really cool and dynamic. Kristian, what do you make of DeHaan's comments?
It was like a press release on CNN. Yeah, look, first I want to say about Dane DeHaan. I love this guy. I think he's a great actor. Everything that he's been in, I really enjoy. I loved him in Chronicle. And I actually really liked him in Lawless because he played a little bit of a different role than he normally does. I'm worried about him playing the brooding, kind of almost emo role every time. But I do like him as Harry Osborn. And his comments, it still seems similar in the lore. Like he's Osborn's son. He's going to try to figure it out. He's got a friendship with Peter. How it all goes down, I like him as Osborn. I want to see where it goes. I'm really curious because from the trailer, I didn't like how the Goblin, or whatever Goblin that was, didn't like the CGI overdone crap that it was. So hopefully they fix that. But from his statement, he seems very enthused about it. I don't know if he's just selling it or he really, really believes in it. I mean, it was long enough that he probably could write his own script.
I know, right? What do you think, Mark?
It's long enough and it's a little rambling, and at the end he finally says it's a very complicated storyline, so if you want some clarity, just watch the first Spider-Man trilogy. That'll shed some light on it. I mean, that's pretty much, it feels like we're going down the same road, and I was so excited watching The Amazing Spider-Man because it was cool to see the reboot, and now where are we going to go that's different from the original trilogy? And it just doesn't, I know we're going to get different villains, but it's like, it doesn't seem like it's that different to me than that first trilogy that Sam Raimi did. So does Oscorp only make, what does Oscorp make? Do they just make serum and villains? Is that all? We make blue liquid, we make Windex, and then we make really bad guys.
Really bad guys. I felt the same way when I first saw The Amazing Spider-Man. I felt like it was a really good film, but to me, it was just a different take on Raimi's version. So while I did really like it, we've seen the origin story, we've seen this, and I do like Andrew Garfield more as Tobey Maguire than Tobey Maguire, but yeah, Dane DeHaan is such a sensational actor. I completely agree. Lawless, Place Beyond the Pines. I mean, he stole that movie from me. Beyond, more than Bradley Cooper, more than Ryan Gosling. I mean, and Chronicle. I mean, he can do everything. But you're right. I'm glad I feel like he has a lot of power right now because he is this young actor to watch, and he seems like a little sassier and edgier, and I do see that. But again, I want to see this different rendition, and I'm glad that Chris Cooper is playing his father because, aesthetically, they look very similar, and I really like when films do that. I really do.
When
Chris
you can
Cooper's
tell that
great.
they can, it's like, oh, they have the same nose.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, come on, best ever. But I do hope they show a different Harry. It sounds like it, but I mean, it sounds like Chris Cooper from the trailer that we saw is on his deathbed or whatever, and that they're just going to fast forward to showing Dane DeHaan turning into the Green Goblin, which is kind of interesting. I was wondering how they're going to do that because how can they do that without Norman being at first? So I'm curious how much they'll show.
And it's also a matter of how much everything he's talking about with the three villains, because I know the Rhino maybe has a smaller part, but still it's going to take a chunk of at least 5-10 minutes, and then plus all of Electro, because at Comic-Con, Electro had a big part. So how much of the Harry Osborn story really makes up? Is it the A storyline? Is it the B? I don't think we need A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but apparently we're getting
We're going through the whole alphabet at this point.
True.
And that's why, because again, I think Dane DeHaan is a fantastic actor, so I don't want to see him wasted in a smaller part like that. It's like, if you're going to do that, just be a roadie for Metallica again.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was great in that movie.
Yeah, he was.
It was great.
He was.
All right,
And
guys.
I hit a funny bone with Crystal. I apologize.
Don't apologize.
getting
I
it.
love hearing her laugh. All right, we've now reached the buy or sell portion of our show. Here's how this works. The lovely Kristian, aka Wonder Woman, is going to read off a couple other things going on in the world of movie news. And the Schmoes and Amy Rose, how good does
Nice.
that
Well
flow?
done.
Yeah,
Come
well
on. Are simply going to say if we buy or sell it. So what we got, lady?
Sean Levy is set to return to direct Night at the Museum 3, which also showcased the return of Ben Stiller, Robin Williams, Owen Wilson, Steve Coogan, and Ricky Gervais. Now actress Rebel Wilson, best known for her roles in Bridesmaids and Pitch Perfect, has joined the cast as a security guard. Mark, buy or sell Wilson joining Night at the Museum 3.
Sure, why not? I've never seen any of the Night at the Museum movies. I don't really care about them, but Rebel Wilson is one of the funniest people working today, so put her in that movie. Her, Ricky Gervais, Steve Coogan. Just put as many funny Brits in this one as possible, and we'll see if we can make another box office champion.
I completely agree. I'm going to buy it because of Wilson. I didn't think there was anything that could get me interested in this franchise, and I love her. I actually just watched Pitch Perfect again for, I can't even tell you how many times last night, and everything, like when she has that little burrito and she's like, leave it, it fuels my hate fire. I mean, every line she delivers is fantastic. In Bridesmaids, her little role, like, I absolutely love her. I agree. She's one of the funniest people working out there today. So good for them. This was a really good step.
When it's a good movie anyway, and then she steals it on top of that, that takes chops.
Yeah, what do you think?
I'm going to sell it.
What? You
Here's,
just had so much fun talking about it.
here's the reason why. Because not unlike what we were just saying with Dane DeHaan, Rebel Wilson plays the same thing in every movie she's in, and she doesn't change at all. As where Dane, I think, can change his style, she doesn't. She does, and with Pitch Perfect, that was rated R, so she could, or even was, I think it was rated R, but she was able to go a little bit more edgy. This is a kids movie, and she's not going to add anything to it to make it so much funnier. It's going to be another Ben Stiller doing his Ben Stiller thing with more museum and weird mustaches and lions running around. And it's like the first one I actually enjoyed. I saw it, and the second one was a cash grab. Third one would be a cash grab, and they're just throwing more people in there. So I said it.
I'm not sick of that character yet.
Yeah.
I love her. I mean, I know a lot of people say that about Melissa McCarthy and Jonah Hill's comedy. Now he's actually doing acting again. But
Do you think she'll add to the movie, though? Do you think
I do.
Yeah?
I love her comedic timing. I think her energy, she's just really funny.
Yeah.
And maybe 5 more films down the line, I'll be like, all right, Rebel, let's see what else you got. But for now, I like what she's got.
When 3 is in the title of the movie, you need to inject some fresh life into that. So we can either get that or we can get Walter Mitty too. What do you want?
No, look, like I said, it's fine. I'll take it.
That shut him up, huh?
Yeah.
Not to be outdone by X-Men Apocalypse news, 2 new photos have been released of Bryan Singer's X-Men Days of Future Past. One features Wolverine and Beast, played by Hugh Jackman and Nicholas Hoult, and the other gives us our first glimpse of Evan Peters' Quicksilver alongside a younger Magneto, played by Michael Fassbender, younger Professor X, James McAvoy, and Wolverine. Amy Rose, buy or sell these new Days of Future Past photos?
Tell me that picture of Beast and Wolverine does not look like the Spider-Man upside down kiss, like they were just caught, right? Doesn't that kind of feel like that?
It looks like the kid from Almost Famous walked in on the lead singer.
I mean, X-Men is my favorite ever, so I'm biased. I'm buying these, and you know, it is smart of them to drop some more. Like, don't forget about X-Men Days of Future Past now that Apocalypse is on everyone's mind, and I am very curious what they're going to do with Quicksilver, since, you know, superhuman speed is his thing, and it does look like, I mean, there's a lot of speculation as what this could be showing. I know they're going to be doing a lot of like slow-mo scenes to show that, and like the raindrops and everything, but I am curious how that's all going to play out in the film, and this doesn't really give me much to work with, but I'm really excited about this film, so I'm going to buy it. What do you think?
I'm buying it. I'm a huge X-Men fan. It's one of my most anticipated movies of this year.
Same.
And in regards to the picture with the snow, you got to assume that they're looking for Storm. Maybe they're finding Storm at that point. I mean, that's just a guess. The one with when they're walking in on Beast and Wolverine doing God knows what, that could be anything, because like, again, you have a bad picture where you're smiling, you're looking really good, and then someone catches you like this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that. But regardless, anything they show of this movie, I'm in. The Sentinels, I'm in. I cannot wait for this movie. Buy.
I'm going to haggle with the dealer, and I'm going to say, can I buy the picture of Magneto and Wolverine, and can I not buy the picture of Beast and Hugh Jackman? I mean, I know it's a period piece, but why is Beast dressed up like the dad from the Brady Bunch?
He is. He truly is.
I like, but he was always like that. He's a different kid. You know, he's always he embraces who he is.
He looks like a guy who's not getting into Studio 54 that night.
Why are you bothering him? He's coming into his own. Leave him alone.
He's got other wonderful attributes. So style is obviously not one of his skills.
I mean, I wouldn't say that to his face. His name is Beast.
Oh dear.
All right, what's next?
James Marsden has been offered the lead role in The Best of Me. Adapted from the Nicholas Sparks novel of the same name, Marsden would be replacing the late Paul Walker. The story follows two high school sweethearts, Dawson Cole and Amanda Collier, who reunited 25 years later at the funeral of their friend. If he accepts the offer, James Marsden would play Dawson, and with Michelle Monaghan portraying Amanda. Kristian, buy or sell Marsden replacing Walker in The Best of Me.
I mean, look, I'll buy the casting, but I want to sell the movie out the window. Like James Marsden's a good actor, and he's already done Nicholas Sparks with The Notebook, and he's a really good actor. And no disrespect to Paul Walker, he's a better actor than Paul Walker was, but it's one of these movies. I'm just sick of these movies. I don't care about them. It's the one thing, and they're not even doing that well anymore. The one with Josh Duhamel and whatever
Dancer turned actress.
The
My name is Julianne.
Terrible.
Sorry. The Lifetime movie of the week that Meredith Baxter Birney could have been in. That thing was a mess. All these movies are sloppy. So I sell the movie, but him, fine.
Yeah, you completely expressed my sentiments. Will these movies just stop, please? Like, I feel like I could cut off their head and another one would sprout off in its place again and again and again. And again, it's not against Marsden. I love him, and I think you nailed it. I mean, I loved Paul Walker. He brought something special to the screen, but it definitely wasn't his amazing acting chops. And I do think James Marsden is just a bit better in that, and he's great, but I just don't care about this movie.
Oh, I don't want these movies to end. I'm upset that James Marsden is getting cast because he's way too good of an actor for this. These movies are so much more fun to watch when it's terrible, terrible acting. That's why we love Julianne Hough in the last movie. It was fun to watch them struggle through this dialogue, this awful Nicholas Sparks dialogue. Then there's always a twist at the end. Somebody gets cancer and they didn't see it coming. Then a dog dies and then it starts raining. Well, you know what's going to happen, but it's fun to watch really bad movies sometimes. So if it's going to be a bad movie, have it bad like a really terrible actor too.
Do you have a drinking game for Nicholas Sparks movies in general too?
Yeah, but it's alone and I just stare into a fireplace with a bottle of Sailor Jerry. TMI.
Wow.
My Friday night.
Wow. You just went there. I'm going to have to say, and I'm just going to have to interject and buy it because I've read almost every one of Nicholas Sparks' books, and I still have hope because the books are so good. And we were just talking about how my heart is filled with darkness, and I don't usually enjoy movies like this, but
True.
I do like some Nicholas Sparks movies. Okay, the Juliana Hough one was terrible. But the last one with Zac Efron was great. The Notebook. The Notebook, one of the most amazing films of a love story. So I'm going to say that I have hope for this one yet, just because the book was so good. Jeff Goldblum, Aubrey Plaza, and Oliver Platt have signed on to join Johnny Depp in the new art dealer heist film Mortdecai. Directed by David Cope, best known for helming Premium Rush and writing Spider-Man and Mission Impossible. The film also stars Gwyneth Paltrow, Ewan McGregor, Olivia Munn, and Paul Bettany. Mark, buy or sell Platt, Goldblum, and Plaza joining Mortdecai?
I'll buy it. Did you say you liked The Lucky One?
Did. Said it.
Wow. Okay.
On tape.
I'll buy all this casting. Where has Oliver Platt been? I've missed Oliver Platt. He's so good in everything he does, and we just don't like. He was in Lake Placid, and then it's like, no, come back. We like you in movies. And Jeff Goldblum is always great in everything. So I'm definitely buying this. This is a great addition to the cast.
Yeah. What do you think?
I buy it as well too. I mean, Johnny Depp now scares me. Sometimes he's always doing the weird stuff. I hope he goes away from the weird stuff. But again, this cast that's joining. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm a sucker for a good heist movie, so yeah, sign me up.
Me too. Bye. Especially for the two gentlemen. I love Oliver Platt and Jeff Goldblum. They both have such an amazing on-screen presence, and their one-liners and everything. I love it. And Aubrey Plaza, I loved her in Safety Not Guaranteed.
Yeah.
That movie, she was absolutely charming. I remember when they're running, and she just has this adorable smile on her face, and I think she's really great. To-do list.
Yeah, the to-do list I was going to mention.
She's great. So I think this is a really strong ensemble, and I'm glad that, Transcendence still looks weird, but at least it's more dramatic again and not just these physically transformative characters.
He doesn't have a bird on his head.
Yeah. Well, not yet. We don't really know.
Transcendence is actually taking the memory of the Lone Ranger out of his head, and they're storing it somewhere.
Can you take it out of the rest of our heads?
Wow. Yeah, just put it where the Ark of the Covenant is, and we never want to think about it.
Yeah, but I am also a sucker for heist films, and this cast sounds phenomenal. And those two gents, I'm in almost everything. So really excited about this. All right, guys, before we jump into mailbag, there's a movie coming out that's now playing in AMC theaters everywhere, The Lone Ranger, starring Mark Wahlberg. I have not had a chance to see it yet, but I've heard it's absolutely amazing.
Lone Survivor, not Lone Ranger. Sorry, you said Lone Ranger.
I did?
Yeah, I put it in your head.
It's in your head.
God.
It's in your head.
It got taken out of Depp's head and put into your head, so now you have to pass the virus on.
You're powerful.
You've
over
cursed
there.
her.
Lone Survivor. God, Lone Ranger, 2 different films. Anyway, I heard it's amazing. It's now playing everywhere. We're going to play a quick 1-minute clip for you right now.
Danny, give me some comms. Come on. Spartan base is Spartan 01. Over.
What do you want to do?
Go home, get in bed, watch Anchorman.
Yeah, roger that. What do you think?
Think we did the right thing. Think we let our love light shine. I mean, isn't that how things work? Good things happen to good people?
This is a bad spot.
Danny, I got nothing here on set. Give me some. How you feel?
This is a bad spot.
You okay?
All set.
Good. Let's fall back to that tree line. Wait till sundown. If we can't make comms, we're walking home anyways, gents. Let's get some rest. Pack up, let's move.
All right, The Lone Survivor is playing everywhere in AMC theaters. Make sure to check amctheaters.com for showtime information. Johnny Depp is not in this one. It's Marky Mark for the win. All right, so now on to mailbag. We have a couple users submitted questions picked out, and Miss Chris Lee is going to read what we got for today.
Chris Carrasco writes, hello, beautiful people of AMC Movie Crew. I just want to say I love the show and you people are awesome. Thanks, Chris. Keep up the great work. My question is, how is it that terrible movies get made every year? Example, A Haunted House, Movie 43, or any other spoof movie. But movies like Scott Pilgrim can't get a sequel. I mean, that movie, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, has to be one of my favorite movies of all time. Such a fan adaptation from video game to comic book to the big screen. I just don't understand the politics behind Hollywood, where movies I mentioned above get made and others don't. Please help me understand.
Thanks for the question, Chris. Very simple answer. A Haunted House cost, I think, $2.5 million to make, and I believe it grossed like over 40 million. Yeah. Scott Pilgrim, which I agree, I loved that movie. Everything about it. Edgar Wright at his best. I absolutely loved it. It made about half of its budget back. 60 million, it made about 31. So it's simple. I mean, I talk about this all the time, how I too would like to explore original ideas. I've been working on this script for a long time. There's so many people out there with a lot of new things to say, and this year cinema really showcased that as well. But money talks, and that's just the truth of the matter.
Yeah, I worked at Warner Brothers for a production company for about 3 years in development, and watching the studio politics in general, somehow these things, you're absolutely right. It is about money, but it's also about reputation stuff with certain directors and what they can bring, and then they project numbers, and it's this whole thing where you forget that it really is business, because Scott Pilgrim absolutely should have a sequel. Yeah. And it became a cult thing too, but now and business has changed as well, because they really market to the international markets too. Because look at something like Pacific Rim that did okay here domestically, and then it caught on, but internationally,
blew up.
Boom,
yeah,
big punches. And if you can market a film to internationally, then that's where they try to go for their money.
This is why I love having Kristian on the show, because I've never worked in the studio system. I couldn't get a job. What I do know is that the movies that he listed that were terrible, like A Haunted House and Movie 43, they're comedies, and comedy's really hard to pull off. Sometimes you think it's going to be great, and it's not. Sometimes you think it's not going to be that good, and it's really, really funny. When they were making the first Caddyshack, they thought they were bombing. When they were making the second Caddyshack, they thought they were crushing. So sometimes you just miss, and you got to get over it.
Yeah, and I guess for something like Movie 43, if the Farrelly brothers, who have been successful in the past, come to you and say, look who I have in this movie.
Yeah.
I have this pop out. You're like, great. And then here's what we shot. And pfft, so.
Yeah. And that did not do well. So, I mean, it just slowly, that cast, I was really excited about it. I thought it was going to be great, but wah, wah. But that's not getting a sequel, so don't worry, my friends. But yeah, there definitely is a formula to it. I actually worked at Warner Brothers as well for a bit, so don't worry, we got this side covered.
All right, you kids have fun. I'll be out in the parking lot.
They'd hire you now, all right?
Yeah,
just saying. All right, what's
no,
next?
they wouldn't.
Nah. There's too much stuff in my hair.
Finlay's Flicks writes, Happy 2014 to you, AMC. I love the show and I look forward to watching your new ones. As you may know, there is a small film coming out in May called Godzilla. So far, I have loved almost everything that's come out about it. I love the cast that's been put together. I loved both trailers, the official and the Comic-Con one, etc. And it has become my most anticipated film of the year. However, there is still one thing that concerns me. Director Gareth Edwards. I just feel nervous about giving a big franchise to a director that has only directed one other film, and a low-budget one at that. So, should I be worried, or do you have faith in Edwards? Thanks.
Interesting question, but, you know, until a director or a writer or someone dazzles you, they're also not very known. I mean, look at Duncan Jones. Moon is one of my favorite sci-fi films ever. And before that, you didn't really know his name. Now he's directing Warcraft. I mean, look at the Safety Not Guaranteed director, Colin Trevorrow.
Yep.
He directed Safety Not Guaranteed, little indie budget film, and now he's directing Jurassic World, a big budget picture. So this happens all the time. If it's a good director and he's a good eye, obviously they wouldn't waste a huge franchise and the most famous monster ever on a director they didn't have faith in. So, and Bryan Cranston,
Right.
Elizabeth Olsen, I mean, I think we can have faith in this movie. So until someone really dazzles you, you know, they need that breakout performance, that breakout project, whatever they do. I mean, so I definitely don't think that because he's a small name, he might not deliver an incredible film. What do you think?
No, and also they when they're going through the process of hiring the director, they listen to the tape. They want to, and you got Frank Darabont wrote the script for this as well too. So you got to trust that guy's instincts or who they're bringing on. And again, Cranston and everyone who's involved in this project. And you see what they've already done with the trailers.
Yeah.
The trailers alone have me saying, okay, he knows what he's doing. I also like the fact that it looks like there's going to be a little more character piece, driven piece to it as well. I want to see how they incorporate the actual monster into it too, because there is a lot to Godzilla, as silly as it sounds, but there is, and
He's a big guy.
He's not small, and I think that I'm very interested too. It doesn't concern me at all that he's only done one thing.
That Godzilla trailer was one of the best movies I saw in 2013. It was so powerful and just epic. And I think that it's less about having faith in a director than it is actually taking a chance on someone new. Because I'd rather have a lot of chances and then a couple people misfire than have the same 5 directors get all the big projects. I want to see some fresh blood into this. And again, I know you too. We're rooting for Godzilla, man. I want this to be so good because eventually I want to see Godzilla fight King Kong again. So.
And you know, it's funny too, not in the same smaller scale, but look at Chris Nolan, who had done, you know, Memento and even Insomnia, smaller, bigger budgets, but smaller films. And then they gave him the Batman franchise,
Yeah.
and then look at him now. So it's all,
Inception,
and Warner Brothers tends to do that stuff right when it comes to the directing process as well. So. I'm excited for the movie.
They also gave Ben Affleck his shot at becoming one of the best directors out there right now, so I have faith as well. All right, guys, we are going to take a live question. Miss Chrisley, I'm sure, has been checking out the good ones in the chat board. What's a good one to you today, my love?
Actually, the chat board's a little delayed, so there hasn't been very many questions, but there was a few. Shaggy2 Fields wants to know, could Vin Diesel's secret Marvel project be playing Thanos? You don't need to learn stilts to motion capture, but you do for a big suit. Any thoughts?
I see you shaking your head over there.
I'm shaking as far as I'd be up for it. I think it'd be cool.
You got the voice.
Yeah,
He really does.
I'd like to. I'd be all right for that. I'd like to see Vin Diesel do the pure villain role, not the Riddick. Like could be good, could be bad. Pure villain. That'd be a lot of fun. So, is it possible? I don't think that's what it is because I know he's already voicing Groot.
Yeah.
Right? So, and then he's got something else.
And walking on stilts.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Whatever Marvel wants to do in their movies, I'm on board with. As long as we don't involve the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show in anything, then go ahead.
Yeah, that's that. Let's not even go there.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. But yeah, his voice is so incredible. I want him to sing me bedtime stories.
Really?
Yes.
Nightmares.
That would kind of
It's
wake me out of
sexy.
the sleep.
It's sexy. But I do think that he would be a really good villain. I mean, it lends itself in his slow, calculated delivery of his speech. I think it'd be perfect. So I do think that, I mean, especially because he's not physically going to be shown as Groot, I think that they're same with like Bradley Cooper and Rocket Raccoon. I think there's maybe a little more more leeway
Yeah.
about being another character in the universe if
And-
you don't physically have a face attached to it, you know?
And it also can be done even if it wasn't, because I mean Chris Evans made it work with 2 different superhero
Yeah.
characters. It's not recommended obviously,
Yeah.
but yeah, voice work lends itself to, hey, this guy's also Thanos, and he could also do a third one because you're not going to see him as Vin
No,
Diesel. So.
Exactly. All right, we have time for one more.
That's about all we have in the chat board right now, so good thing we're only taking one. Bill Labonia wants to know, do you think the Oscars 2014 will fall into the social causes again? 12 Years a Slave looks like the all-time favorite, but is it?
Interesting.
Ooh.
I don't
Great
know
question.
if it's the all-time favorite. I feel like there's a lot of people that are very split. I mean, Gravity is still, for being a cinematic achievement, getting a lot of hype as well. And then you have Inside Llewyn Davis, and I really feel
American
like
Hustle's getting a lot of play.
Hustle
And Dallas Buyers Club. I mean,
Yeah.
there's going to be
Yeah.
a social cause involved with the Oscars.
Yeah.
It doesn't. We don't always know what it is, but that's generally a way to get to a lot of red carpets.
Yeah.
Is to make people really depressed for 2 hours.
Yeah, it's-
And there are a lot of those this year.
If you can depress me, then go ahead and pick out your Vera Wang dress because you're walking the red carpet.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough year. I really think that they like, again, the nominations haven't come out yet, but even Golden Globes for the most part got it right. It looks, just last year was so many great movies. So as far as the social cause, yeah, I think it's inevitable at this point. It's
And there really is such a formula to what takes home Best Picture. It's kind of predictable. This year I feel like is a little more unpredictable, but still they love underdog films, they love social causes, they love historical dramas, and we have so many of those, so it's a bit of a tighter race, but usually it's not too hard to predict at least the top contenders.
Did you know Argo was gonna win last year?
Honestly, I was not surprised at all because they couldn't have paid for better publicity
Yeah.
by the snug that Ben Affleck was,
Well, it
that
nailed,
just
it
kept
nailed
building
every
momentum.
it nailed every description that you just
Yeah,
said. So that's why I was
historical,
curious. Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
about it, and he's a great director, so I wasn't too shocked.
And it's
actually.
Pepper's riding the wave at the time. Like Gravity, I thought was definitely going to win the Best Picture, and then it started to go down, and people started to kind of hate on it a little bit. And if it comes back up by the time the Oscars are around,
Yeah.
then I'd give it to Gravity. But then you also have, again, the social cause movies. So
And then look at The Butler and Fruitvale Station that had so much buzz when
Yeah.
they came out months ago, and now people aren't even really mentioning them,
and
which
Mud.
is sad
Mud
to me.
came out this year.
Mud was one of my favorite films of the year.
Yeah.
I loved it. Matthew McConaughey, his year, man. Great. Well, we are all out of time. Thank you so much for joining us today. I would love to thank the Schmoes.
Thank
I had
you.
so much fun with you today. Kristian Harloff, where can people find you?
You can find us right here on YouTube.com. Schmoes Know. Go there and subscribe and watch some good reviews.
And Mark, thank you so much for being here.
You can find me at Warner Brothers applying for a job. And you can also tweet us at Schmoes Know. Check us out. And our podcast is every Thursday on the Toad Hop Network.
Great. I would like to thank our resident Wonder Woman over there, Miss Crystal Kennedy. Where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Chrisley, and on Tumblr, The Movie Chick.
Great, guys. And I'm Amy Rose with AMC Movie News. As you know, we won the IAW TV Award for Best News Series. And I actually wrote an article about it yesterday, just kind of our whole journey from a couple years ago to now. And I'm going to include it in the show notes today. So check it out if you'd like. And Mr. Campia is still on his deathbed, but he will...
Social cause.
social cause for Best Picture. But he will be doing some mailbags this weekend, so you will get your camp fix. Thanks again for joining us. Be sure to like and share our video. Go see a movie. You know the deal. I'm Amy Rose. You can find me at Amy Rosie on Twitter and all the various social networks. Until then, have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.